the most fun podcast.
Yeah. Creative fun or fulfillment.
What's most fun to you? I find one of the most fun things.
That's fun.
Most fun!
Okay, so what's most fun? What's most fun? Sounds fun.
January 3rd, Meg Ferguson, Tab, of course.
Yeah.
And
Spence.
Scooby-Doo.
And Scooby-Doo. Norland.
And yeah.
Has that been your name this whole time? I'm just finding
Full
out.
name Scoobert, but yeah.
Scoobert versus
Doofenshmirtz.
Yes.
No relation to the famous Professor Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah.
The most fun podcast.
Most fun podcast. Most fun podcast. Oh. I'm your favorite singer.
I am. You are.
This is Most Fun Podcast, where we hang out with cool animation artists and chat about the surprising ways they stay creatively motivated by finding the fun in their work and their life.
I'm Spencer, animation guy.
And I'm Tab, queen of Canadian animation.
So this is our first episode. Do you have first episode jitters?
No, because
I do. My leg is moving a lot.
is it?
Yeah.
It's because you're an active boy.
Yeah.
You're sporty.
Yeah.
You're a sporty boy.
I'm getting exercise while
Yeah. You were on a bus coming to Toronto.
True.
Yeah. So
I should be doing this on a treadmill.
yeah, that's right. Next time, listen, we'll do a fitness episode. That's good for animators, right?
So who's our first guest?
We have the ultra talented Meg Ferguson.
Right away, you get the guest name wrong.
We have the ultra talented Meg Ferguson.
Nice. All right. So for context, we actually recorded this episode almost a year ago in my basement.
Most Fun headquarters.
Listening to this again, it was interesting to hear that it's still obviously very relevant to what's going on. And so we've talked about how we want to, before the episodes, kind of give our thoughts about when we revisited these interviews, and you're searching for yours right now.
Yeah.
And I had a fun name for this section of the show.
Oh, yeah. What's it going to be called?
We call it Pre-Cap.
Pre-cap.
Because it's a recap, but we're doing it at the start, which is
very tenant coded.
Yes. This is why this is how I knew tenant was going to come up.
Right.
Because pre-cap is a very tenant term. We're recapping something before it's actually happened.
Right. So the reason why you knew that this was coming up is because because you've been here before.
Yeah.
So your leg was moving fast because you're going so fast through space and time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll try starting the episodes, giving our thoughts and see how that feels. I like the idea of, kind of like prepping the audience for what they're about to hear through maybe one takeaway we both had from the episode.
All right. So we'll do that.
All right. You want to start?
Yeah, I'd love to start. So my takeaway, so this is a little pre-cap, a little pre-cap chit-chat. My takeaway is so Meg talks about the language that we use in animation. So this is something that we use in animation to talk about ourselves and to tell stories about ourselves. And by that, I mean like war language, the way that we talk about animation as working in the trenches, things like that. And my takeaway is thinking of how that's affecting the next generation and how those stories get passed on through them. So I really enjoyed talking to her about that topic. It was very illuminating.
I knew one thing that would be interesting about this is when we'd have either the same takeaway or very overlapping.
Yeah.
So mine is very connected to that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, even though we don't talk about it that much in the episode, mentorship. And mentorship, that it's obviously you can be an active mentorship role in someone's life. But we also talk about modeling behavior, which is a kind of passive way of mentoring that is a responsibility you have as someone's senior whether you acknowledge it or not.
Yeah, I think it's really important in the studio situation, but also in casual conversations.
Totally.
So like when you're at the pub with a bunch of people from animation.
And there's younger animators there listening to how we react to changes in the industry, how we respond to challenges we face.
Yes.
Because looking back at my own life, when I think of people that I've learned a lot from, those have been the takeaways. It's not always a discrete piece of information. They taught me this or that. I just saw how they move through their career, and it helped inform me with like a sensibility or a perspective that I carried into mine.
Yes, and the flip side of that is if people are being hyperbolic or panicking or whatever, that they internalize that, and that might even put them off from pursuing working in our field, and it's a pretty biased perspective. Yeah. So a young person has trouble understanding what's just shop talk, what's just sort of venting shit talk, just to release stress from what is a stressful job. So I think we need to be mindful about how we talk about ourselves, because that is what shapes us.
Yeah. So even though it is a passive thing that people are just sort of observing you, it's good to be mindful and sort of active about it, because it's not something a responsibility, you could defer it, but if you don't kind of offer that sort of ongoing mentorship, people will look for it in other ways. And like, we talk about this briefly, but like going on YouTube to hear people who are industry insiders tell them what's going on. And,
right.
And those people aren't always acting with their best interest, or maybe aren't really connected to their community in the same way and aren't giving them the quality of information that they need to be successful in their careers.
Yeah, it's really hard for a young person to tell like who is credible.
Yeah.
Especially in the online world.
Yeah, so I think that's a big value of creating a community in the way that Meg does.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah. Meg is an accomplished animator and director who has worked on shows like Tangled, Wander Over Yonder, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil. She directed on the 3rd season of the hit show Hilda, for which she was nominated for an Annie Award, which is animation's highest honor. In addition to her confident leadership in the animation studio, Meg Ferguson is a strong advocate for artists, dedicated to fostering community. She currently lives in Ottawa, Ontario, where she founded OATS. As a community organization, OATS provides knowledge, resources, and it creates a safe and open space to collaborate on positive solutions to the challenges of artists, which is awesome. I wish I had this when I was a young person.
I started it after the 1st season of Hilda.
Okay.
Right.
So it's probably been about like 5-6 years.
We should explain what OATS is.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, OATS stands for Ottawa's Animators Talking Socially.
Cutest name.
Yeah, we had a naming contest, and honestly, it was just a group that some of us had started on Facebook with the goal to be a place to talk about things that wasn't studio or school, and with kind of the caveat of like, we don't, and this was specifically what I wanted, because I was as burnt out as heck, and I was very cognitive of a lot of conversations I had with students and their fear of entering the industry, that I wanted a space in particular that we were not having any kind of message of like overworking or sacrifice to succeed, which is a vague term. Of course, we all need to sacrifice a little bit. Just depends on what that is. But like, I really wanted to make sure that our message was not the message that I felt like I was told in order to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And there's spaces for that, right?
Yeah.
Like
you could go somewhere, hear all the war metaphors you want about animation.
And like, I was working with some people who also wanted a place where, we can have conversations, and like, yeah, of course we want to vent and complain or whatever.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about proactive solutions. From what I've heard from people generally is that they know where to go to ask questions.
Right.
Which is what matters, right?
Do you find that once people are sort of like involved orbiting the OATS community, that they stay around, or is it more of a place where like it, because it's kind of focused on people who are about to enter the industry or have just entered the industry? That's sort of, is that who your messaging
I think
is targeted to? Or?
Not specifically,
No?
but
Okay.
I think it turned into that. But I think that was more because when I had made this space, there was already people that had like their group of friends and stuff
Yeah.
like that they were doing. And we just had a lot of students kind of it just kind of became that way because
Right.
a lot of the
Because I think that was like a gap that needed to be filled.
yeah,
by
exactly. And I
a
did
sort of
start
orientation.
Yeah, it was it's like to bridge the gap a little bit
From school
Yeah.
to studio. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like it wasn't done specifically that way, but it kind of turned into that more and
Because
more.
those are the people who needed it.
Those are the people who needed it, and I found like because like we had people who when I first started Oats, like they were in first year, and then after they graduated, like they stuck around. Right. So a lot of the people like the regulars, like we have our regular
Yeah.
group of people.
That's what I was sort of wondering.
Yeah. But I would say overall, like it skews younger,
Mhm.
but that's cool.
Yeah.
Because
that's
it's
good.
just the spaces. It kind of turns out that way.
Well, they haven't fully digested all those negative messages yet. So
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the group. I think sometimes I worry that people aren't spicy because they feel like they can't be spicy there. But
I mean, that's more of I think a cultural, like generational
Mhm.
issue is people don't want to be spicy, the younger
Yeah,
ones,
yeah.
because they know they're always being tracked and recorded.
that's
They
so
get
true.
worried about that. Yeah.
Like I had one person be like, "Oh, what would happen like if we spoke bad about a teacher on here or something?" Like they weren't asking
Yeah.
to speak bad, but they were just like worried about like that's how far it went or
Right.
whatever. And I was like, no, don't. I mean, generally, and I've never really had to tell anybody this, but in general, I say like, listen, you can vent, but we're not here to disparage specific studios or schools.
right.
Or teachers, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, I had a challenging day or I'm having a situation with, like, a teacher or supervisor
Yeah.
that, like, I need help navigating, right? Like, but it's like you don't come in and going, like, oh, this teacher, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not here for that. But most people aren't like that.
Yep.
Most people aren't, right? Most people are afraid of making mistakes. So,
Mhm.
but if it encourages people to practice being vocal, because that's the thing, like you got to lead people down the path, right?
Yeah.
You got to give them space to like practice it over time. You can't just go like snap your fingers and be like, be vocal, right?
Yeah.
You have to get into the practice of being afraid, saying your opinion, and then going, okay, nothing happened. I didn't get fired. I didn't get like whatever for having,
Yeah.
And I think having a safer space for people to do that and to practice that is good and having conversations. So
And also practice doing it wrong.
yeah,
I think that's a really big thing for young people is like
absolutely.
learning that you can say the wrong thing and it doesn't get received well. And we deal with that. And that's also
And that's
fine.
okay.
Yeah, it's just part of being a person with opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And being the, especially being like a little older, like I've realized, especially being in a position like a leadership position or being a director, how much people look at my reactions to gauge how they should react.
Right.
Right? Because it's like, well, if Megan's freaking out, I should be freaking out. Because Megan normally doesn't freak. Well, I used to freak out more.
Are
I
you
freak out less,
are
but-
you relating this to Oats or just this is a general thing you've noticed?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like with Oats, even though I personally can go like, oh, I want it to be neutral and it's a group for everyone or whatever. And like, I'm not even super active in it. If anything, I take more of like a back room kind of approach. Like I'll plan things and I'll say things, but I'm not like super chatty on there. But I am aware that even just knowing that I've made the group, that I'm a moderator, that I work at a studio, it like puts me in this position, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that. I think it's more important on a team in the studio that I control my reactions, but I am aware of that in the group context as well, because I have it way more context as to like how the industry even functions than most of the people there, right? Like they don't even know that they've never experienced a dip before, right? If I go in, if people are there going like, oh my gosh, like the animation industry, and it's not just me, there are people in that group from other studios, and I've seen the conversations kind of going on, which is great, where, people are asking about advice. How can I get a job in animation? How can I get a job in illustration? And you have industry experienced people who work in Ottawa saying, you know, giving practical advice, not to just say like, I know the industry is tough right now, and let me tell you why, but not in a way that's like freak out about it, or it's like, no, there's a context as to like the cause and effect.
Yeah.
We've been there before. We'll be there again. And all we can really do is talk each other through it.
When you're talking publicly about how even your just emotional reactions, there's a responsibility inherent to that as someone who is experienced in the industry, because people who are younger are looking to people like you, like me, like to see, well, how are they taking it? And they're taking cues from that. And it's like, it's an influence you have whether you like it or not.
Because young people will hang on to every word because they're hungry for information.
Yeah.
Because, they have access to YouTube and everything, but there's no comparison to like on the ground lived experience of what it's like to be a worker.
Yeah. And then, I mean, especially, you know, people online, they know like numbers in terms of like social media and stuff don't mean anything much with like the actual industry. So if you are an industry person and you're in the industry and you're established, they're gonna listen to, and to say that like, oh well, they're adults and they should take everything with a grain of salt. It's like, people don't function that way.
Yeah.
Right? Like not even adults function that way.
But also two things can be true at the same time.
Like it is a little bit of both. Yeah.
Everyone needs to be discerning about the information that comes into, but you also have a role in that interaction. So it's like,
you affect your behavior,
ideally both
affects
people,
other people.
Yeah. And like understanding, especially now that animation is cool. I already had artists who were in animation and putting it on a pedestal, you know, thinking what we're doing is cool. But now it's become to the point where it's like it's more mainstream. I used to do it when it wasn't as cool. But like there is a much bigger influx of people looking at the industry, either it being like you know, studio work or indie animation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of expectation. Like they don't know how the industry works, and all they've seen is the boom, right? And when I look at the history, and even I'm like trying to like catch up on the history of animation, and I'm trying to learn things that like I was not looking into and stuff like that. And the more I learn, the more I'm like, it's always up and down. And, you know, just telling them like, we are more in line. Like, this is the reality, unfortunately. What's going on right now, how tough it is, we are more in line with most animators.
Right.
Like you know, it's always going to be a tough job. And if
especially when there's so much to learn, because with this, you know, the boom bust cycle, the dips, it's like it's affected by things outside of animation.
Oh, like wars and politics and everything.
Exactly. We were just watching Three Caballeros.
Yeah, right.
And we were like fascinated with and we learned about the good neighbor policy and that it's like propaganda to counteract the Nazis trying to pit the Americas against each other.
Yeah,
like,
it's so fascinating.
Yeah. And it's like it's because like we're so in the art and we forget about like the system on the outside, right?
Yeah, and it's not happening in a vacuum.
And
also the creative influences are not happening in a vacuum. Like everything, it's all interconnected with just like being a person in the world.
And it's messy, you know, and it's messy, but we need to for me, like in the next coming years, it's about like giving the education, or not even education, but like trying to make the information as accessible and clear as possible to the new generation that has a big push to want to tell stories, has schools that are now have huge class sizes and cost more than they ever have, and an industry that has shrunk. And it's like, well, how do we mentor and bring up the next generation of storytellers that are not going to have the same resources that I did? One of the things I found that a lot of people are, you know, asking about is like how to pitch, how to make stories. And I think just like more discussions on like curiosity and like how we can play is really like, I think one of the best things you can bring to a group of like people in an animation community, right? Because there's so much, especially there's so much weight put on jobs, but honestly, I think just from being around people who, obviously have been hit from this, rug pull in the industry, there's a lot of energy and a lot of people who want to make their own stories.
Yes.
Who have something in them, and they're gonna do it regardless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't need me to tell them or help them to do. They're gonna do it, right? But I think when I look back on the amount of experience I have, I want to make that easier for them. And if sharing my experience can make like rigs seem less intimidating, and they're like, oh, maybe I can use Toon Boom if we can get something like this. That to me is sort of what excites me is other people's projects. I don't have projects of my own. I have things I like to try and I like to play around with. I'm working on a Mike the TV rig because I want to practice.
I'm very excited about this.
Snappy or more cartoony animation. Like like that's fun. But when I think about like what energizes me and where I want to put my energy, I want to help people get their stories and ideas and something off the ground.
Right.
And I've never been the person who's like, I have a story and I have a passion project. I have this thing that's never been me personally. But I've always been okay with that.
That's great, because I feel like there's this thing in animation where people think, if I don't have my own show idea, I'm a fake. Like that's the brass ring everyone should be reaching for, when not everyone wants to do that.
Yeah.
But they almost feel like embarrassed about not being that person.
It's the story that we tell ourselves about what makes somebody a star or whatever
or successful.
Yeah, exactly.
Like honestly, if I the idea of adaption to me is so much more interesting because there's a challenge to me. I like the challenge, the communication challenge of like, how do I take this media or this story
something from a different medium?
Yeah, and like it's that kind of like Rubik's cube of communication of like, how do I get the spirit of this and what people like about this, but also put my own spin on it and bring a different tone. Like there's just so much you can play with in filmmaking that to me, I do see it always visually like a Rubik's Cube, right? It's like you start off and it's a bunch of colors in different areas and you're trying to click them around through the production process until it forms something. And I like that process. So it doesn't matter if the Rubik's Cube is mine or not. What's most important to me is that I get to problem solve. And I get to fiddle.
It's a good metaphor for it, because when you're changing something else too, like when your choice has another effect on the other side.
Yeah.
You got to balance those things against each other.
Yeah, you have to look forward, right? Because like any choice you're making, like it's not in a bubble. Like especially if they're
not discrete choices. They're interconnected. Yeah.
And for me personally, I think this is just how my brain functions. But there is something so satisfying to me about planning something and then having it pay off like 7 months down the road.
Oh yeah.
Right? Where it's I like that stuff.
Building community, helping others tell their stories, making a plan and watching it all come together. These are the things that energize Meg. But still, we wanted to know, what is most fun to her? It's a question we'll be asking all our guests. And get ready, because you're about to hear our first attempt. I don't know, we were trying something.
It was a cool something.
Meg.
What's
most fun
to make?
How was that? I like the idea of like every time we do it, we try a different way.
Try a different bit. Yeah.
What was most fun was watching you two coordinate over that right now.
Incredible.
Okay, so what's most fun? What's most fun? I will always and forever be a character, actor, animator. That is what is always the most fun for me. I love lip syncing. I love singing, but I especially love the challenge of bringing an animated character to life in a way that is like they're not just moving, but they're like living and breathing and embodying that acting, right? Like it's coming from them. And that's something that I've always been incredibly picky with when I was a kid. And even like watching animated movies, if the voice did not match with the character, or if I felt like it was like, it would just bug me. It would just bug me so much. I'm looking at you, Brad Pitt, for Sinbad, okay? Like, I'll give Metro Man, he can have Metro Man, okay? That worked for the thing, but like not someone redub the DreamWorks Sinbad with better voices, except for Michelle Pfeiffer as Eris. That's it. But yeah, that's just always been a particular thing that I've always liked, right? It'd be like singing or speaking. There's a cadence and a rhythm and a flow to dialogue, and it just immediately triggers my brain into kind of seeing a movement, but it's still vague and I want to flesh it out. Like I kind of suggest to my mentees, because I can, you need to plan stuff, right? So I do kind of see stuff in my head and I plan out what I want to do, but I always go like, leave room to discover.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because it's like you need to know what direction you're going. You shouldn't be like lost and wandering, just anywhere. You should pick a direction you're going, have a goal, but don't be so rigid with it that you can't discover the process along the way. Because I always find little acting things. The more I go, I'll never know 100% of what I want to do when I start.
Okay, that was a great conversation with Meg. I just like hearing about how much she hated Brad Pitt as Sinbad. So Spencer, where should people go if they want to hear more super cool and smart things from Meg?
You can find Meg online. She goes by Little Digits on most social platforms. And if you are local to Ottawa and you feel like getting more involved with Oats, then, well, you know what? I'll let Meg tell you.
Thank you, Spencer. In the new year, we are hoping to expand our focus to more broader community organizing. We have really great in-person events and art support and feedback and all that for people who are interested in the animation industry. But we also want to advocate for ourselves and enact positive change in the city that we live in. So we do have an active Discord. If you would like to join it, go to ottawaanimators.com. That's our website. Not only is there information there, but there are emails that you can email for a Discord invite, and we would love to have you.
Ooh, and I believe now it's time for listener mail. This is the section of the pod where eager listeners write to us with probing questions and comments.
Okay, we'll both read a letter. So I'll start with mine.
All right, great. Whoa, that was...
Sharp.
That was spicy.
All right. P. Parody writes, "That episode was great, but I want more. I want to hear nitty-gritty shop talk. I want to know what Meg's favorite indie games are and which ones she wants to adapt for animation. Is there somewhere I could go to find that? I would even potentially pay $1 whole for access to that kind of thing." Well, Mr. P. Parody, you're in luck, because we also have the Most Fun Patreon, which you can find if you go through our Instagram. You can find it. I don't know what the URL is going to be right now because it's not published as of this recording, but it will be there. There will be a Patreon. It won't be hard to find. We're going to make it easy to find.
Yeah.
And on that Patreon, you'll find bonus content. So we record with our guests with Meg, we recorded for like 3 hours. But typically like an hour and a half, and about 20 minutes of that makes it into the interview for the main episode. But there's a lot of great stuff that we aren't able to include that is still really fun to hear. And a lot of the stuff is like the more in the weeds, like animation talk that I really love. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, join the Patreon.
And in fact, Spencer, you love this bonus content so much. You said to me, "This is the bonus content that I wish existed."
When I was a child.
When I was a young animation boy.
Yeah.
So that's saying something.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the way I see it is the main episodes are an introduction to the person.
Yeah.
Gives you a sense of kind of generally what they're all about. and then the most fun question kind of gets at the heart of it. But I think the bonus episode is really cool because you get to hear just like their thoughts on other topics.
And you get to hear our sassy banter, which is so popular. It's so popular. It's tenant popular.
It's so popular we're getting fan mail before we've even released an episode.
Now listen, speaking of fan mail, I also got a fan mail. And I'm going to do your technique and not give myself a paper cut.
Wow, that is not my technique.
I don't know what you did. I think it involved mustache, which I only have a light dusting of at this point.
I'll teach you off, Mike.
Okay. All right. So the question comes from Glenn K. From America. Interesting. Burbank? I loved your podcast. Is there going to be another one? Most podcasts have multiple episodes that release with some regularity. Will yours follow suit?
It's a good question. Is there going to be a second episode? Are we doing this again?
Oh, we're doing this so many times.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've banked episodes across the last years. We've been traveling the globe. traveling with our little record kit through the Toronto-Montreal rail corridor, visiting guests throughout the southern GTA and Ottawa and actually Montreal regions. So did we ever record in Montreal? No.
I was going to let it slide.
We talked about recording in Montreal.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Listen,
We'll get
Montreal,
there.
we're coming for you.
Yeah.
So don't you even worry about it. That'll be season 2. So I'm really excited to share these episodes with the listeners because, listen, we had so much fun recording these and we're going to have even more fun sharing them with you.
What's the next episode?
Oh, so it's our guest, Chris Dainty, who is an incredible Ottawa-based animation artist who has his own studio, Dainty Productions. And he makes animation with ice and a big honkin' chainsaw. And it's incredible. And he did a short with the NFB using this technique that he pioneered.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to need that explained to me in detail by Chris Dainty on our next episode. Most Fun Podcast is a Most Fun Studio production and a member of the Podcavern Network. This episode was edited by me, Spencer Moreland, with production assistance from Tung Law and was produced by Tabitha Fisher and Spencer Moreland. Our theme music is by Spencer Moreland.
Season 1 of Most Fun Podcast was produced with financial assistance from Asifa Hollywood's Animation Educators Forum Faculty Grants Program. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the speakers and are not affiliated with any institutions, organizations, or employers, including Sheridan College. Thanks for listening to Most Fun Podcast, and we'll be back soon with more.